Gather round, friends, new and old, and welcome to Roast and Toast. We are your hosts, David and Jenny, and
we out here. We're getting a little roasty, getting a little toasty on this fine summer day. How are you, David? What's new?
not a whole lot new. I had some family visiting this week, which was delightful.
Oh yes, how was
from the
that?
U.S. Well, it was really nice. I had to work a few days, which sucked, but good to spend time with my cousin and her two young boys, one of whom is my godson. And she brought me 8 packets of the Trader Joe's version of Takis, which is the
Okay.
greatest snack in the world. It's the best chip that exists, and I absolutely love it. And they momentarily discontinued them, and then I think outrage ensued, and they brought them back. I don't know what happened, but all I know is Trader Joe's employees told me they discontinued them because I couldn't find them anywhere. And then when they asked, "Oh, do you want us to bring you anything?" I was like, "Well, I would ask for the Trader Joe's Takis, but they don't exist anymore." And they said, "Oh no, they do. They're back." And I was like, "Oh my god, bring me as much as possible." So they brought me 8 packets of it. I would have honestly wanted them to fill a whole suitcase full of like just that.
Just to carry on, they open it at the check-in.
I guess I gotta be
Takis.
realistic. Yeah, exactly. They're like, "Are you bringing in any food or drink items to Europe?" And they'd be like, "No." Nervously scratch his neck.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, and no, what? Dogs start sniffing. Yeah. No, I'm very happy.
I'm going to be vulnerable for a second and say I've never actually eaten Takis before. That is one snack I've somehow never tried.
I actually don't like them that much. Like, they're okay. The originals. I like the Trader Joe's version.
Trader Joe's Takis are the ones.
Yeah, the originals are more spicy, which I don't mind spice, but they're more spicy. The Trader Joe's ones are still spicy, but they have more lime. They're more zesty. They're more.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. I'll have to go to Trader Joe's. There's one on my way to work, so maybe I can go check that out. While you're eating fun snacks, I'm eating colorless, bland food over here because your girl just got her teeth whitened. And when you get your teeth whitened, if you don't know, you have to avoid eating anything colorful or fun. So my last 3 meals have been chicken and rice, white rice, and ranch dressing on tortillas because that's the least colorful things I can find. So, but my teeth are beautiful and pearly white now. So thanks, We Whiten in Tempe, Arizona. Thanks very much.
This is not a paid promotion. Feeling good for a movie review this week. What do you think, Jenny?
Oh, absolutely. And we have chosen a delicious movie because it's right up my alley. The good old...
Of course it is.
Good old horror genre up in here. At last, it's been so long since we reviewed a horror movie. The Last Voyage of the Demeter is what David and I saw this last week. Now, David, keeping on our classic tradition. Yes?
We can't just do this, the two of us. So I had to get in contact with somebody whom I know also loves horror movies. So we brought on a guest. He's also seen the movie. This is David, not to be confusing. He's been on the podcast before. It's David Sampson. I'm David Hoffmann. We're not the same person. I know that a lot of people think that we are. But welcome, David. Yes, he just figured out that he was muted, and I had muted him.
Well, I am delighted to hear that we are in the majority this week with horror movie lovers. Welcome, David.
Ooh. Have I misrepresented you, David? You do love horror movies, right?
I do enjoy them. Do I like?
You've dragged me to a couple at AMC back when I was living in the States.
Oh, that was a good time.
What was the one with the alligators?
Oh, Crawl. That was such a good movie.
Crawl?
I loved it.
There's
no reason to be that good. You haven't seen Crawl?
Was it really good?
Well, it was okay.
Well, Hoffman hated it, but me and Philip loved it.
I didn't hate it. I just thought it was
underrated.
Kind of meh.
It's like Jaws, but crocodiles.
And it takes place in a house.
Yes, it's like a hurricane happens and a
of course,
crocodile gets inside
it's
the
kind of
house.
Sharknado, but
Crocnado.
alligator hurricane. We'll
Crocnado.
call it. Yeah,
Crocnado. Yeah.
yeah.
That sounds like
Hurricroc.
a Halloween
Hurricroc.
costume waiting to
Ooh,
happen. Take
wow.
notes, guys. If you're not going to do it, then
All
I'll
right.
do it.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Well,
Hurricroc.
we're talking about the wrong movie right now. We did
Sorry.
all see
Yes.
The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Demeter, I hardly know her. Um,
Damn.
Nice. Nice.
I have a summary of this movie. No, I don't. I forgot to write a summary, but that is my responsibility whenever we do a movie review. So I'm going to make this one up on the spot.
Go for it.
Basically, there's a ship in like is it the 1860s or the 1890? 1897,
I think
I think was the year.
1890s. Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's 18 something.
1897. Yeah, let's go with it. And this ship is in Bulgaria, Romania, or somewhere. I think it said Romania in the opening text scroll, and then all of a sudden at the beginning of the movie they were like, we're in Bulgaria. I'm like, that's not the same thing. So they're in Bulgaria, and someone
Eastern
drops off
Europe.
they get hired to ship some very valuable thing. They get overpaid for this thing. There's a big bonus for them as long as they deliver this to London on time, and they have like 20 something days to deliver this thing to London. And the guys who drop it off at the ship are too eager to get rid of it. It's weird. And then some of the locals who they hire as helping hands on the boat see the package and a symbol on the box, and they're like, heck no, I'm getting out of here. And anyway, so they load the stuff on the ship and
Exactly
they
like
set
that.
sail, and weird things start to happen. They discover a woman who they think is a stowaway who's very sick on board. And then one by one, crew members start getting picked off. And eventually it becomes clear, oh no, Dracula's on board and he's going to
The
kill
Dracula.
everybody. And they just hope that they can make it to London before they all die. We'll call that the summary.
Well,
This review shall be spoilerific. Just a heads up. If you've not seen The Last Voyage of the Demeter
Oh,
and you want
extremely.
to have a non-spoiler review,
go
this is
somewhere
not
else.
the one. So go watch the movie, come back and listen to the review if you have not seen the movie. Okay, guys. Best thing about this movie. Let's start there. Jenny.
Oh, I would say off the top of my head, I really enjoyed the performances in this movie. There were some major standouts, specifically Liam Cunningham as the captain. I really loved his performance. I thought it was spot on, beautiful. Just in my head, if I had to picture a sea captain in the situation, he just did like the perfect interpretation of it. I thought his performance was brilliant.
I actually think his performance was the only one that I thought was brilliant.
Oh,
Most of the
really? You
I
didn't
found
think
very
anyone else?
underwhelming, kind of just a little off. And I think that's partially on the writing as well. I think the writing. This is not an original thought. This came from my girlfriend who saw this movie with me. She said the
Mm-hmm.
writing put too much on the actors, asked them to show too much um, of what was happening in the movie.
To show
I would
too
say
much.
the other
Interesting.
one, yeah, I think the writing forced the actors to like over explain the movie through acting.
Oh, I 100% agree. And I was even going to
Right.
mention this later, but since we're already talking about it, there was moments in the script where I kind of felt that same thing, where
Mm.
it felt like there was so much backstory repeating going on.
Yeah, that's exactly what my girlfriend Nicole, what she said. She was like, "Why do we need to know everyone's what they're gonna do with their money, and like, why are we humanizing characters who have like 5 lines in the movie?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The other performance that was good, I think, was Javier Botet. Yeah,
Yes,
who
as
did
Dracula.
Dracula. Yeah, I thought he was good. I think it's hard to see that as a human being because he's got so
Mm-hmm.
much makeup or special effects going on there. But I mean, can't fault it. He was very good. David, best thing about the movie?
Oh, best thing for the movie for me. I loved. There's some great, genuine, like shocking moments, like especially when
Mm-hmm.
like they just get burned alive to a crisp. Like,
Oh yeah,
oh, I'm burning, man! And you just like he's like, and for me, it was like what was most shocking and risky, which I think worked out well for the movie, was they did some things that are big no-nos in the horror trope community, like they killed the dog that you see, and you're like, "Oh my gosh,
right.
it's so sad."
Oh,
And then
that
they
made me
did,
so
then they,
sad.
They
yeah, and then they killed the
the
kid too,
kid too.
and you
Yeah.
actually see him like get burned alive, and it was like
Wait,
shocking when like,
Well, he got burned
yes,
dead.
well, sorry,
yes.
burned
He
dead,
got burned undead.
the burned undead. Either way, he
Yeah,
got burned, he got
he got
roasted
burned.
and
This is
toasted.
wait, but I've been wanting to talk about this too. Has anyone else noticed a trend? I mean, especially in horror movies too, but that's where I'm mostly seeing this happening. Is that child deaths are becoming they're appearing more on screen, especially within
Yeah,
this
I mean, it
last
happened
couple of months.
in Mithrigan as well,
It happened in The
which we
Boogeyman
also
too.
we reviewed Mithrigan on this podcast, and there was a
Yeah.
child death in that movie.
Well, usually what happens is that it's, the child is the one that usually lives because it's the symbol of innocence and hope, and that's why it
I
goes there.
had my doubts for a second because the child doesn't die immediately, right?
See, yeah,
No.
He gets sick, and you're like, okay, they're gonna save the kid, but no,
exactly.
the kid dies.
I honestly thought they were going to have it be like, which would be more of the typical horror story, would be to have him be the last one that survives, and he's the one that's going to go and try to find Dracula at the end
Right,
and
the
take him up.
hero's
And
last act is to make sure
yes,
the kid gets to safety, right? Yeah,
yeah,
something
yeah,
like
and then the
that.
kid will continue on the story as he gets older,
Yeah,
sort of thing.
but I mean, part of the week. I don't know. I'm getting off track here. This isn't my best thing. I haven't even said my best thing yet. But there was this. I had an issue with the fact that because the movie starts with the ship washing up on shore and there are no survivors, you kind of know that at best there's one survivor, but possibly
Yeah.
no survivor. So you know everyone's gonna die. Like that kind of spoiled it a little bit for me.
Well,
Okay,
wouldn't
best.
the
Sorry,
t-
that's not my
wouldn't
best thing,
Well,
worst thing,
yes.
or
What is
half
your
baked
best
thing.
thing, David?
but
Or
also, what doesn't the title spoil that for you? The Last Voyage of Demeter. I mean,
well, that just implies that the ship doesn't make it.
that's fair. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
All right. My best thing about the movie is the pacing. Too often, horror movies especially get too wrapped up in teasing you, and then they don't have enough substance of monsterness to actually spread it out through the movie. Whereas this horror movie really spreads it out, and you don't have to wait an hour and 20 minutes before you actually see the beast. The beast is in it like already from like the early in the second act. You're already seeing Dracula, and they're like they tease his appearance a little bit, but not too much, and you get a lot of horror and not like 90 minutes of anticipation, which has its place, don't get me wrong, but the pacing of this movie I thought was probably the best thing about it. All right, I'm going to go first with worst thing about this movie. This movie had some big old plot holes.
Oh, did it
They
ever?
keep saying that early in the movie they're like, okay, no, we can't stop because they're not really sure what's going on yet. They're like, we can't stop. We want to make it to London on time so we get this big bonus pay, right? That quickly disappears when shit really starts to hit the fan, and they're like, oh, we can't make port or whatever. I'm like, you don't need to go to a port, just get to land. Like he says, oh, the nearest port now is London. I'm like, France is just to the right, okay? Or Portugal or France or wherever. Just hit land. Like the Mediterranean is quite narrow. There's a lot of land, okay? And then once you pass through the Straits of Gibraltar and you go around Portugal and Spain and France, like land is not that far away. You don't need a port, just hit land. Like this is stupid. There's no reason for them to have stayed out at sea with all that crap going on. That's just
let the
dumb.
French have Dracula. Let them get
Yeah,
you by
let the
Dracula.
French have
Yeah,
What a
Dracula.
twist.
No
Who
one
cares about the French?
But the point is that the Dracula's on the boat and they're like, "Oh, we just got to get to London." I'm like, "But you don't. You could just turn right a little bit and you'll hit France." Ugh. I thought that was pretty dumb. That was the thing that was screaming in my brain. I'm like, just go to land. Also, the fact that why do they keep doing things at night? Why don't you do all this weird, like, stop searching the boat at night, do it during the day? God.
Sorry, pause for David's
Samson,
rant.
you go. Worst thing about the movie.
Oh, okay. The worst thing about the movie, I would say, is that it wasn't scary at all. To me, it did not scare me one bit. It was like, and they tried faking me out at the beginning too, with all the classic horror tropes of trying to fake out, like, oh, there's a hand that's touching my shoulder and it's just a crew member. And not dragging, like, all this. If it just, and even the scary stuff wasn't scary. It was
really?
None of it was
You
scary. I
didn't
was like,
get,
yeah.
There was one or two jump scares that even got me, and it takes a lot to get me scared.
No, didn't
I don't
get me
get
at
creeped out
all.
easily, but this thing get like at moments I was like, ugh. And then I scootered home after the movie through a dark forest, and I was like,
oh no.
See,
There's
I wasn't scared. I think I was at most just shocked at like seeing like especially the burning moment I was telling you about. Like, that shocked me, but it didn't scare me. It was just like, oh my gosh. And then, but like, scary, not at all. For me, this was an interesting story. I really enjoyed, like, for me, it's very interesting having the story of, Dracula and like his origin story and doing all this stuff, right? But it wasn't scary. Like, I think they could have made it actually scary. And that would have took it to a whole nother level for me if it was actually like scary.
You know what did give me big time chills was at the very end where he's at the pub in London and he sees the cane, and then there's like this weird like flashy, like it quickly changes, like you see like 4 different shots and like Dracula strokes his guy's neck and then he's gone. Like that actually, I was like, ooh.
There's the scene or the image that has stuck in my head is just that first moment where I think it's Corey Hawkins, is that the actor's name that plays the doctor?
Yeah.
We see from his point of view the first time that he sees Dracula. He doesn't realize that it's Dracula, but it's that image of him just completely covered in shadow, and he's just still. And we know the audience knows it's Dracula, but he's just staring at the camera, staring at Corey Hawkins, not moving. And I was like, oh, that would actually, if I saw that, I'd be freaked out, because one of my personal horror, like one of the things that actually scares me is like things in the forest when you can't see. It's just darkness,
so you can't,
or there's shadow, so you can't
like, there
tell
might
what
be
it
something
is.
there, but
Yes. So I saw that, and that was the one moment where I was like, oh, I'm actually scared right now. This thing is actually scaring me. But
Jenny,
yes.
Worst thing.
Well, you know what? On the topic, though, unfortunately, of Dracula, I would say Dracula himself is the weakest point of this movie for me.
Oh.
Because, let me explain why. I always do a little bit of research after watching a movie. I like to go through horror movie reviews. I like to research the lore or the original source material. And knowing that the original depiction of Dracula is that he's primal. He is an animal. He's just hunting. So any sort of like depiction of Dracula is, in Hollywood especially, they really turn up the whole love factor with Dracula. That he falls in love with his victims before he devours them or bites them. But I realized that I didn't like there was a lot of emotional depictions emotions, or the emotional journey of this creature while he's attacking them. I just wish it was a little less like Dracula was able to talk, was able to smile. I wish he had just been like pure creature, because that's the way he was physically
like,
drawn.
Like when the guy's like saying, "Oh Lord, oh God," and Dracula's going, "Oh Lord, oh God," you didn't like that.
I just didn't. It was
like, "Shut up, Dracula, just kill him."
like,
God,
can you just kill him already?
Yeah, get on with it.
I didn't need that. If he was gonna be full
Stop
bat,
playing with your food.
full humanoid bat, it's like, why are you playing with your food? Just eat it. Aren't you hungry?
See, I feel like I disagree in a way.
Really?
I kind of disagree too. Like I kind of
I think I kind of want the opposite because, like, for me, what would have been even more interesting to me is like I
Samson
like
wants the love.
no,
You
no,
want
I
Gary
need some
Oldman. That's what
Dracula
you're looking
love.
for.
I love getting bit. I'm sorry. That's something you guys don't need to know.
Did you guys ever see?
But,
Sorry, did you guys ever see Dracula Dead and Loving It with Leslie Nielsen?
No.
no,
No, oh, classic spoof comedy. Great. Anyway,
sad.
sorry. Go on, Samson.
But for me, like that moment at the end where we see Dracula and he's with his cane, he's in a suit and whatever. For me, I think it was. I would have enjoyed more of a version where like we see how his true form is, but as he gets more blood or whatever, he becomes more almost human like. And for me, it would have been interesting if at the end when we see his face for a brief second, instead of still looking like the disgusting teeth thing, whatever,
Yeah.
like monster, like for me, if you're in the even if you're in the at dark at the night and you're in a tavern or whatever, if I saw that, I'd be freaked out and just would that would be it was very far fetched for me to believe that. So I thought it'd be cool to see like, oh, he's more human, but you just know by this cane and the way he's walking that it's like, oh, this is Dracula. Oh, this is the Dracula that we all know, and that for me would
I
have been
was
more
waiting
interesting
for.
at the end if it was more human. Where
I
we'd
was
see that
waiting because they
transformation.
mentioned that at one point in the movie they say, "Oh, like he walks like a or something. He disguises himself as a man or so." Didn't they say that at some point in the movie? So I was waiting for like them to find a human man
Yeah,
as another stowaway or something, and then that turns out to be Dracula.
and I was okay
I
with
was
that
like,
moment being at
I
the
was
end
confused there.
if that
They
happened.
said that anyway.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
we're
if
gonna go on
anything,
to
I would have loved more of a separation of appearance between his humanoid version. I wanted more like a
fair enough.
clear
As
Jekyll
Dracula,
and
you
Hyde.
wanted him
Yeah,
animalistic.
I think they could have been at the very beginning way more animalistic, and as he's feeding on the crew, it could be like slowly becoming more humanoid in a way. I don't know.
But anyway, moving forward.
Yeah. So Half Baked, this part of the movie was just like a little bit felt incomplete, or like what were they trying to do with that? That didn't feel. Jenny, you can go first.
This is the first time I'm going to be saying this on this podcast. This is the first movie that I've seen that we reviewed that has made me upset that the sound design or the sound mixing wasn't better.
Wow. Yeah,
The
Nicole said very similar things. She felt like the music just tried to do too much or something
there
like that.
I just noticed that there was this it just felt like the sound design was just like casually worked on, and then they paid extra care to the final scene. And
Mm.
in the way I'm saying that because I know from me, I've already said too in previous episodes that I have sound hearing issues, and I can really tell that there's an issue with the sound if I can't understand what people are saying. The music, there was a lot of music moments in the first 2/3 of this movie where I was like, I don't even know what they're saying right now. I want to be able to hear what they're saying. But then I did notice in the third act that they paid extra special attention to the way Dracula's wings travel. And
Mm.
I noticed that like there was one moment in particular where I heard his wings travel from left to right around the ship, and I could hear that very clearly in the movie theater. So I just like I appreciate all the attention to detail they did with the final scene at the final moments, but
And
I
the
just
climax,
wish
yeah.
I just wish there was a little more attention in the beginning to make sure we heard all of the setup before
Right.
the action began. So that's my opinion.
Samson. What
Well,
was
for
Half
me,
Baked?
Half Baked. Well, I think you touched on it a little bit. But for me, I actually felt like it was a little too long. It didn't need to be 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Was it
I
that
think it
long?
could. Yeah, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Damn.
And for me, I think, like you said, we can get cut more to it, and not have all this backstory to like the characters that only have like a few lines on there or whatever. I think that we can cut out a lot and just get more to the meat of it.
It's 2 hours long. It's only an hour and 58 minutes.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
Yeah,
Let
I
me
thought
prove
that
you
wasn't right.
wrong right now as we speak. Let me see. Voyage of the.
You don't believe me? I'm telling
I
you,
don't.
IMDb
I
and
don't
Google are
believe you.
telling me. It's an
Here's the
hour
thing.
and 58 or hour
Well,
59 minutes.
if he's saying it must
Oh,
have felt like 2 hours and 20 minutes, therefore
Well,
it
then
is
maybe,
too
yeah,
long.
maybe
oh.
there's something wrong
Well,
with
maybe MoviePass lied to me. It said it was 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I was like, why? But for me, I guess there's a lot of moments in there that I felt like could have been shortened down. Take it off another
yeah,
15
yeah,
minutes or
that's
whatever.
fair. Like,
There,
there's that whole
yeah.
scene where they're each just talking about like what they want to do with the money, and I feel like I got nothing from that scene. I was like, one dude
Yeah.
wants to boink some girls after he buys himself a fancy coat, and I'm like, okay, that's it. I mean, it maybe it was trying to be comedic, but it didn't make me laugh at all. Like, it wasn't that funny. It just,
Hoffman does not
anyway,
approve. But I
fair.
will say this. I think that the movie would have done a lot better had it been named, instead of the name that is given, The Last Voyage of Demeter, it should have been named Dracula, The Last Voyage of Demeter. Because for me, before I was even asked to come and check out the movie, I didn't even know that it was about Dracula until I'd
Right.
look at the
Yes.
and so for me, I think that they did themselves a disservice just box office wise. I'm not sure how well they've done or
Yeah,
not,
yeah, box office
but
wise, but for sure, I think that's very true.
I think that it would have been a whole different story because so many people love Dracula. It's a very niche
Yeah,
market and people love it. But
exactly. It's
you
that's
don't know it's
marketing.
Dracula. Yeah, you don't know it's Dracula unless you see like Dracula, the last voyage of the
Yeah,
Demeter
it's
or
like if they had
whatever.
called Avatar 2, if they'd just called it The Way of Water,
No one would. Yeah,
it,
it
like
might not have been as big.
it might not have caught as many eyes. People wouldn't be like, "Oh, it's finally that second Avatar movie we were promised 10 years ago."
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. So I
so
think
for
that they did themselves a disservice with that.
I think you're right. I think you're right because I didn't know. I saw Last Voyage of the Demeter. I thought it might be it's like some whatever, some indie movie about a ship.
Romance.
My half baked thing is also another kind of plot hole. There's a moment where once again they're searching the ship for whatever beast is killing everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and they find this box, which it's so obviously that box. It's got a emblem of a dragon on it,
Yep.
and it's right in the middle of the cargo hold, and it's whatever.
Yep.
It's so obviously that box. They search like three or four other boxes and don't find anything, and then they look in this one. I'm like, yeah, duh, and they and they're doing this at night. Why? I don't know. This thing keeps attacking at night. Just do it in the daytime. Do your searching in the daytime. How's that, huh? They find this thing that they find the cane that you later see at the very end of the movie, and they say, "Oh, we found where the beast rests," or something. They say that line. They're like, "We found where the beast like rests," or something like that.
Sleeps.
And I'm like, okay, so they're gonna do something about that during the day, or something. Like,
Right.
they know where the beast is sleeping. Go back during the day and do something about it. But no, it's never addressed again in the movie. I'm like, what was the point of that whole scene? You never then go back to see what, like, to do something to kill the beast while it's sleeping or something. Um so why yeah, I didn't understand that. That felt super. It just, like, it went nowhere. It was completely half baked, and that was dumb. Anyway,
Before I move on,
well,
I just want to give a shout. This is an episode of David's because David Desmalchian. Can we talk about David
oh,
Desmalchian? I just want to shout out to him. He has literally been in all the horror movies that I've seen in the last 3 months, not just that, Oppenheimer. He was in Oppenheimer. What an
he
icon!
was too. Yeah, yeah.
What an icon!
They were like dubbing over his dialogue or something. Like, he had to he
Wait,
had to do, I
really?
think, do ADR for a lot of his scenes. I noticed it big time. It was a big early on in the movie, especially when they're looking for crew members. You could totally tell that it was ADR, and I was like, what is up with this? Like, I don't know.
Interesting. I wonder why.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder why too. All right, enough of that. Let's overall thoughts. Would you see this again? Would you recommend it to people? Samson, let's start with you.
Yeah, I'd see it again. I mean, I'd give it like maybe like a 7 out of 10, 7.5
Wow,
out of
that's
10.
generous.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. There's a couple things there, but it had some great moments. But so I would definitely see it again. And if someone really is into Dracula, I would definitely say go check it out.
I would also see this again. I think this movie is very rewatchable. I don't, however, think I needed to see it in theaters. But if I hadn't seen it in theaters, I probably wouldn't have
Yeah.
noticed as many things as I did. I think more flaws were noticeable in the theater, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to recommend it. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. If you really want to see it in theaters, listeners, go before it's leaving, because it's literally in the back door, last door on the right. So just go do it.
I would not see this movie again. It's neither my kind of movie, nor do I think it's particularly good as a movie on the whole. I didn't hate it as much as my girlfriend did. She was
Ooh.
like, she thought it was just a bad movie.
Aw,
Um,
man.
I thought it was okay. Like, I thought it was okay. I might recommend it if someone is super into Dracula, like Samson said. Then yeah, sure, go see this movie. It's a not a traditional take on, or it's at least not a mainstream take on Dracula. So I think that's cool. But I think there were a lot of shortcomings, acting, writing, directing, sound wise, plot wise. I just thought there were a lot of weak points in this movie. So I wouldn't recommend it to most, and I certainly would not see it again. But Jenny, do you by any chance have some fun facts for us?
Oh, you always know that I do. Okay, so little trivia on this movie. So, Dracula's appearance in this movie is inspired by Count Orlok from the unauthorized adaptation named Nosferatu, which is kind of hilarious because that means that Nosferatu, that interpretation is inspired by the original Dracula, and it's basically the only reason why it's called Nosferatu is because they wanted to avoid copyright it when they made it. So it's basically inspired by itself, which is very funny to me. And before this version, before Last Voyage of the Demeter premiered this year in 2023, this movie has actually been sitting in production hell for over 20 years. The first draft of this was written way back
Wow.
in 2002, and it's been rewritten however many times, and it's been passed through 6 different directors that we know of before finally landing on Andre Overdahl.
Wow, that is a
That's
fun
crazy.
fact. Not so fun for the movie, but fun
Mm-hmm.
to know. Wow, that's
I,
crazy.
I
It
have a
took
fun
20
fact.
years. Yes?
There is a character on Sesame Street who is inspired by Dracula. His name is the Count.
Yes.
He's
Thank
a
you,
vampire.
Samson, for that one.
One director.
Anytime.
Two director.
Yeah, two director.
And then, so we actually already discussed this, but despite this movie being a decent film, in my opinion, Demeter is a box office flop. It's only made about $6.5 million
Oof.
in its opening weekend. Now, the internet is having a blast speculating as to why this has happened. Some people are saying that it's because Barbenheimer is still heavily dominating the box office,
It
and it's
truly is like
affecting everyone else.
Oppenheimer is still holding IMAX theaters, despite the fact that Blue Beetle is now out. Blue Beetle is sharing my nearest theater. Blue Beetle is sharing the IMAX showings with Oppenheimer still, which is now,
Oh,
was
wow.
it 3-4 weeks old or something like that? That's crazy.
Some other reasons include there's just lukewarm response from critics, and that does heavily affect audience seating.
Yeah.
Also, too, David, you already covered this. This film title is massively misleading. People are not able to tell this is a Dracula movie, and therefore people just think it's about a ship, and they just have zero
Doesn't even
interest
sound
in
like
it.
a horror movie, really. It doesn't sound
Uh,
like a horror movie. Like, when I first saw the title, when we did our blockbuster draft, I thought Last Voyage of the Demeter. I did look it up then, and I saw, okay, horror movie about whatever. But I mean, I thought it was, again, it was a period piece about some ship, and it probably sank, I guess, or I don't know. So yeah,
there's
it's super
Yep.
misleading.
One more fact on this topic. So I actually found out this was really interesting. There's several regions in the world that's never going to get access to this movie. Period, and that's heavily affecting ticket sales. So this movie is never going to be is delayed indefinitely from being released in the UK, in India, in Spain, especially because there was a UK distributor called E1 that announced it was shuttering all operations. It was being sold to Lionsgate. So there was a bunch of layoffs. There was a bunch of political things happening with those distributors. Therefore, Demeter got delayed indefinitely. So, for all we know, there could have been at least how many more millions of dollars made in those areas, because I feel like the UK would really appreciate that movie. It just, well, it's never going to be released. So, they lost a bunch of money.
Yeah. Well, stupid.
Yup.
So that's it for our movie review. Go see this movie or don't.
Yep.
We can't control you. You are a free person. But there you go. You have our thoughts. Let's move on. Our mini segment this week is You Will Be Missed. Jenny, would you like to go first or second?
Absolutely. Oh, actually, you know what?
First?
How about I'll go first. You will be missed, my green half-cup measuring cup. You were so beautiful, floral detailing, but I never would have thought that attempting to scoop leftover rice out of its Tupperware would result in your destruction. So I'll gorilla glue you, but the trauma of the event will forever serve as a reminder. You will be missed.
You will be missed, quality time with my girlfriend and family. With the Rugby World Cup starting soon and the NFL season also upcoming, I'm just gonna be so wrapped up and invested in the excitement of sports, I'll be mostly anonymous for about 2 months. Quality time. You will be missed.
Can relate. Looking to streamline your busy schedule? Looking for a helping hand for life's endeavors? Details by Claire is here to make your life easier. Visit www.detailsbyclaire.com to explore a wide range of services, including calendar management, website creation, and even voiceover work. Claire's attention to detail and dedication to her clients are unmatched. Don't let the game of life overwhelm you. Visit www.detailsbyclaire.com today and discover the convenience and expertise of Details by Claire.
We're rejoined by David Sampson for our game section. But before we do that, Jenny and I have a question for you each, David, because Jenny doesn't know you at all. The
yes.
audience doesn't necessarily know you very well.
They forgot
and
about
even
me.
I could always learn something about you. Don't worry, my question's actually quite grounded and adult. And
good.
I mean adult as in not
not
adult
that
as
kind of
in
adult.
not that kind of adult. No, I just mean it's
okay.
mature.
Gotcha.
It's
Okay.
serious. Okay.
Oh, good.
What
My
is your
special.
proudest professional achievement, David Sampson?
Ooh, my proudest professional achievement. I guess my proudest professional achievement would be directing, acting, producing, and writing my first short film. And I did all
And funding.
and funding it,
Yeah.
all by myself. And I was able to cast it all myself. I spent a lot of money to get it made, and it did pretty well on the festival circuit. And so for me, it was really cool because I've never did any of that before at all. I mean, I've acted before, but I've never directed before. I never wrote before. I never produced anything before. And so to wear all those hats at the same time, especially for my first film, that was really cool. So that for me is probably it.
I tell a funny story for Jenny and the listener. I remember we were living together, David Sampson, when you were in the process of like reviewing the script. You were writing it, and you had asked me to read the script and give you feedback, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that at some point. Like, oh yeah, for sure, I'd love to read it and give you feedback. And you kept, oh yeah, you still gonna read my script? I was like, yeah, I will for sure. And then one day I was watching TV or something, and you came up and you were like, "Hey, I got this this audition. I don't know about the script. Can you read this and tell me if you think that the writing, like if this is like like a good script? Like, do you think the writing's very good? And I read this thinking, okay, someone's giving you sides for the audition. So I read it and I was like, yeah, I think it's good writing. I think this is a worthwhile project. Seems like it's well written compared. Like you see a lot of low budget things that are just written like trash in LA. My God. But I was like, yeah, I think this. And then you were like, haha, that's my script. I wrote it. And I was like, whoa, I'm so glad I liked it.
Got him.
I could have been like, wow, this is trash. What
sucks.
a piece of crap.
This writer should just get out of here.
Yeah, he should just give up.
My God.
Give up on writing altogether. Yes.
Holy crap, that's hilarious. Well, I don't have as adult of a question. It's actually a very popular question I like to ask guests when I'm getting to know them for the first time. I am aware that you are a singing actor, Mr. David Sampson. So, what is your go-to karaoke song? Do you like karaoke? If you do, what is it?
I do love karaoke. My go-to karaoke song is Tequila.
Oh, God.
Shut up.
I'm just kidding.
That's nonsense.
I think my go-to is... See, here's the thing. I've been like in a weird transition where I'm like, do I want to change my go-to song or not?
Oh, that's a big decision.
I know. Lately, it's been...
I've been there.
It's right now. Lately, it's been what's it called? Holiday by Green Day. That's kind of been my go-to.
Very nice.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about changing. I've been doing it for so long. I was thinking maybe Bohemian Rhapsody, but then I was like, that's too long. But
it's
I feel
too
like
long and it's too all over the place. And
but everyone would want to join in, though, right? Everyone like when he goes on in the car, everyone has to sing.
I have against Bohemian Rhapsody personally because everyone joins in. I get a little peeved when someone picks Paradise by the Dashboard Light by Meatloaf. That song is like 8 minutes long and no one knows the words. Why would you pick that? Why? But I guess if it's your favorite song, then yeah, go for it. Sing it.
I love me some Lose Yourself by Eminem.
Lose yourself in the moment.
Because I'm not really much of a singer, but neither is Eminem. So that's
true.
That's a great...
He's
I'm also not a rapper, but Lose Yourself I can manage. I can manage that.
You can manage
to lose yourself. That's a crowd favorite too. Everyone will join in on that.
Yeah, everyone's going to join in. It's like it's a bop. Everyone's like... Yeah. Like that. Okay.
Like that. They're all like...
Yeah.
Not saying the words.
Wow, we love a callback. Okay, I have a game for you guys. It is horror movie related. Jenny, this should be right up your alley.
Ooh.
What I have is 5 quotes from movies of the horror genre.
Oh, this is the real test of the truth.
There are blanks. So you want to fill in the blank. If you fill in the blank correct, so you're going to buzz in. If you fill in the blank correctly, you will then try to guess the movie that it's from.
Oh.
And if you get that, you get a bonus point. Now, if neither of you are able to fill in the blank, but one of you still has an inkling after I give you the full quote what the movie is, then you'll get a half point for that.
Oh.
Yep. Okay.
Interesting.
Are we ready? Does everyone understand the way the points work?
Yes.
Sure.
How shall we buzz in, David?
Let's pick a horror movie character, and that shall be your buzzer. So, Samson, pick any horror movie character that can be your buzzer.
So like, I would be saying their name, not like what they would say. So
yeah,
I pick Michael Myers. He would just be silent, and it would just,
right. You can say lose. Just pick something short and easy, like Hannibal. I don't know.
Ooh, Hannibal's. You know what? I'm gonna steal it. Hannibal.
You go for it, buddy.
Jenny, you inspire me.
To recognize and remember William Friedkin, I will not say the demon's name from The Exorcist because that invites the demon to your house, but I will say Reagan's name. Linda Blair's Reagan from The Exorcist. I'll say Reagan.
Reagan. Okay, so we got Reagan and we got
Ronald.
Hannibal. Not Ronald.
He's not a
and
horror
Jenny
icon.
doesn't want the what was it? The demon.
Reagan, but...
Jenny doesn't want the demon at her house because she's got plans tonight. It's not a good time.
Yes, that's true. I can't have the demon ruining my D&D session.
Exactly. First quote. Are we ready? Buzz in,
Yes.
please. Movies don't create blank. Movies make blank more creative.
This is from a horror movie?
This is a popular horror movie?
Yeah, it's just a
Yes,
niche
very much
Hoffman
so.
movie.
No, it's a very popular horror movie.
This feels like a Steven
I'll
Spielberg
give you a clue.
movie,
It's
like
from
Fableman.
1996.
1996. Oh my gosh.
I'll say it again. Movies don't create blank. Movies make blank more creative.
Reagan. Is this
Jenny?
Is this from Scream?
I need you to guess the blank, not the movie.
Oh,
you gotta guess the blank first.
I'll say movies don't make killers. They make killers more creative, or something like that. No.
Samson, any guesses?
Movies don't make blank, but blank makes movies.
No, movies don't create blank. Movies make blank more creative.
Is this from? See, I have no idea.
Don't guess where it's from. You need to guess the missing word.
Bonus point. That's the bonus point.
I can only give you bonus points at this point. There's no way I can give you anything else.
Jenny got it wrong. David Sampson doesn't have a guess. This is movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
What is this from?
And this is from Jenny. I'm going to give you the half point because it's from Scream.
Oh yeah, I got a half point. So you said 90s.
Give you my bonus.
I only guessed Scream because
it's okay.
They're very they touch a lot of content on. There's a lot of what's the word for it? Like meta discussions about movies and how they influence murderers.
Right.
So that's why
I don't think I've
Scream.
ever seen Scream. So there you go. I've seen Scary Movie.
There's a lot of like
basically
discussion of how to die in a horror movie, and there's a very famous scene of someone describing how to avoid being killed in a horror movie. So it's a good one.
Samson, were you gonna guess Scream?
No.
Well,
but I'm upset about it.
All right.
The opportunity.
Your second quote is, please buzz in. I ate his liver with some fava beans.
Hannibal!
I heard Hannibal first.
No, what? That is not fine.
It's from The Silence of the Lambs.
You have to guess the missing word.
Listen, I'm getting my bonus point first.
Say the full sentence. Did we cut you off?
What is the missing word? What is the missing word? Do you know what the missing word is?
Beans? I
cut you off. Say it. Say it all.
That's a problem. Jenny, do you know what the missing word is? Since you both cut me off.
We both cut you off, so I'm. Is it Chianti?
Chianti is the missing word. Jenny, you get the point. Jenny, what movie is this from?
It's from Silence of the Lambs.
There you go. And Jenny gets both points.
No, because I got half a point.
No, you don't get half a point because
I said Silence of the Lambs.
I know you did. However, the bonus point goes to the person who guesses.
You're against me.
Damn it, Samson. If anything, I'm for you because I'm competing against Jenny in this long-term game thing. I can't give you the point. Play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
I gave you everything.
Okay, we promise we won't cut you off. We won't cut you off.
Quote number 3. It has nothing to do with blank, mama. It's me. Me.
Oh, Hannibal.
Samson.
Oh gosh.
You should know this. I will say that.
I know where it's from. I'm just wondering.
Okay, don't tell me where it's from yet. I need you to complete the quote first.
It's not nothing. It's not blank, mama.
It has nothing to do with blank, mama. It's me. Me.
It has nothing to do with on the clock. It's
give me a guess, Samson, because I'm about to move on.
It's not. It's not the curse, mama.
That is incorrect. Jenny, do you have a guess? It has nothing to do with blank, mama. It's me. Me.
I would not even be able to begin telling you what movie that's from because I don't recognize it. I can't give a guess. I can't even think of a guess.
All right.
So just move on.
All right, Samson. Guys, this is Satan. It has nothing to do with Satan, mama. It's me. Me. Samson, I'm giving you the half point because you guess. What
is this from?
What's it from?
It's from Carrie.
There you go. There's the half point. Sorry, I was about to jump the gun.
Okay.
I was in Carrie the musical.
Oh,
back in the day.
Is this a direct quote from Carrie?
Yeah, sort of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to move on to quote number 4. The score is 2.5 to Jennie to 0.5 to Samson. Quote number 4. It's not the blank that's haunted. It's your son.
Reagan!
Oh,
Reagan!
no!
Reagan!
No!
Reagan!
Jennie.
It's not the house that's haunted. It's your son.
Yes, correct. And the movie?
Insidious, the first one, 2007 or 8. Yeah. No, wait.
2011.
Oh, okay.
11.
I was going to buzz in, but I forgot who my character was. I was like,
I think so did Jennie for a second there. That's 2 points, which means
we both had a moment of Sorry, keep going.
This was an unfair advantage given to Jennie on this day. I will hold a grudge.
Okay, well,
because that's a horror movie.
Great movie.
We have one more quote just for funsies, because Jennie, you will have won this game. Ready? We're gonna need a bigger blank.
Reagan.
Available.
Samson, really. You needed to remind yourself of what your thing was before. When I said ready, you should have said no. Wait, hold on. No. Hannibal.
Hannibal.
All right.
For passion
Jennie,
alone, he should just take it.
Jennie, no. What is it?
Okay, it's
fair is fair.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yes,
it's
that's
Jaws.
correct. 6.5 points to you, Jennie. I knew you would dominate this game. Well done.
You just love Jennie, don't you? You just love letting her beat me. Okay. I meet her for the first time. You just have to let her win.
Listen. David's been having the winning streak lately.
He can't have another David have a winning streak either, can he?
Yeah, this town ain't big enough for the both of us, Sonny.
That's right.
Okay, well, game over. 6.5 points to 0.5 points. David Samson, thank you so much for joining us on this here episode.
Of course.
Yeah, it's been swell. And do you have anything to plug? Anything to promote? Your show is just finished, so too late for the listener to go and see you. But anything else exciting happening in your life?
I got another film that I'll be hopefully shooting by the end of the year. So follow me on social media and keep up with that. And
plug your socials. Where can we find you?
Sure. On Instagram, you can find me at Savid_Damson, which is basically David Samson, but just flip the 2 letters. Savid_Damson, SAVID _DAMSOS.
We got it.
Right.
We got it.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
Okay, cool. We will find you there.
Well, it was nice to officially meet you, David Samson.
Nice
Thanks
to meet you.
so much for joining us today.
You. Thank you.
Well, with that win, Jennie gets up to a record of 4-10. Still not great, but an improvement. And just ahead of Philip, who's at 3-10. Still a long way to catch up to me at 9-4. Looking strong, baby.
Ooh. Come on. That's so. Come on. All right. We have our signature item that we bring to the podcast every weekend that slaps, that have entertained us, whether that be music or film or anything media related. But this week I have a song, and it's about time I introduce to the listeners one of my favorite French artists. We've covered New Zealand and America very heavily, but now it's time for France. Meet the artist Ben l'Uncle Soul, the Uncle of Soul. He's a wonderful singer who has been performing for over 15 years now, and there's so many amazing songs to choose from to dive into his content. Start with his first self-titled album, his full-length album. Check out the song Soul Man. This was written in 2010, and it is an absolute banger. It's a slap.
Well, for me, it's also a song, and it's another country song. And
the country continues on.
But this is on a different note. Last week was or 2 weeks ago, I should say, was a sort of heartbreak song. And this one is Country Girl. in parentheses, Shake It For Me. Country Girl, Shake It For
Oh,
Me.
not this.
By Luke Bryan. I don't know if he has any
Oh,
relation to Zach
Lukey.
Bryan, who was the artist from last week. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just hear this song. I know that it's not necessarily what you would call a song that slaps, but I think it kind of like it comes on and I'm like I can't help but like groove to it. I'm like,
No, I will admit,
yeah.
this song is very easy
The
to
young
groove
bucks
to.
sitting in the honky tonks and the rednecks rocking till the break of dawn. Singing that country
When you hear
song.
this
Come
song in
on,
a
come
country
on, come
bar,
on.
everyone in the room starts bopping.
Oh,
They
it's
start
so
bopping.
good. Like I'm jamming to this song. It's so much fun. And that's what it is. It's a fun song.
Yes.
So it slaps. And if you don't like that, you can bite me.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I love a collab.
Yeah. Collaborative mini seg. Well, it's time to head to our tents. The campfire is dying down. The podcast is coming to a close. We have a few goodbyes and a few thank yous to say. First of all, to Cass and Crossland and Jake Corlang for the music that you hear on the show. We love you guys and we thank you.
Thank you to Ryan Ardell, Josh Hans for all the audio bits that you hear throughout the show.
And thank you to Rudy Chalk for the graphic design work that you did for us. We love it. It's all over our socials, and we're very proud. So thank you so much for your contribution. And thank you to David Sampson for coming on this episode and joining us and going to see the movie Last Voyage of the Demeter just so that he could help us review it on this episode. So big thanks to Sampson. And thank you to you, the listener, for tuning in each and every week. And we hope that you recommend us to your friends. We're out everywhere. We're on all the streaming platforms. We are out on Instagram, so find us on Instagram and TikTok, Roast and Toast Pod. And like I said, we're everywhere where you listen to podcasts except for stinking Pandora, because screw you, Pandora.
Captain, I've been hearing the sound of a roar in the cabin, below the cabin.
What? That's not possible. It's bad luck to have a bear on board.